Hey guys, it's We3, and we are hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
First of all, 3 is my favorite number, so the fact that this is the fact that this is in your name just already won me over. how, how are you guys doing? And how's your stay been here in LA now that all the madness is done? You guys are now focused on your music.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Well, I mean, we love coming to LA. We're from kind of rainy Oregon. Yeah. So we get here and it's the middle of winter and it's like sunny and almost 70 degrees.
Don't get used to it.
I know. It's been really cool though. Yeah. Busy, but good. Yeah. Good busy.
You guys just dropped the debut album, which is like, first of all, it's incredible. All 13 tracks on there are just like, to me, like masterpieces. Like, I want to know about the creative process behind that. And, did you guys produce and write this all on your own? Was there people involved with this process? Like, tell me everything.
Yeah.
It was the 3 of us, and then our producer, Keith Summers, who lives in the same town that we were born and raised. And we have known him for such a long time, and he's not only just a great friend of ours, but he's such a talented musician. And so we worked with him on the project, but all the songs were written by us, and we would go in the studio with him, and all the creativity was right in that room with 4 people. So, yeah.
So you guys were kind of working on this as the show was kind of going on. So like, while you guys were experiencing these big stages, this audience, this cheering fans, new attention to you guys, like, did that kind of change the way that you guys were creating this record, especially the writing process?
Well, I think in a huge way, we recognized the new fan base that we were getting from this show, and we wanted to work really hard to have the best project we could put out for them as soon as possible. Yeah. So it was more so that we were just inspired to just get some music out to them, and we were really passionate about this project. And
so I don't think nothing changed. I think it's when we're on the show, it's easy to get intimidated and go, oh my goodness, I have to do this, I have to do this. But to try to make it better. But I think your best content is just going to be when it's real and it's honest. And so I think trying to forget everything on the big stage and all the people who are maybe counting on it and wanting something, and just make music that you love and that you feel.
Yeah. I almost feel like it almost like gave more fuel to the fire.
Right.
We're like, oh wow, okay, they're really liking this material that's so dear to us. Like, okay, well, let's just keep going. So.
And the coolest part is we didn't have to change going on the show. I think that's something that I realized afterwards. I said, dang, we didn't do anything different. And that's what was really cool, that people appreciated what we were doing in the moment. So we realized, let's just keep doing that. Let's not try to change for anybody. Let's just do what's authentic.
Well, I think it was like kind of a testament to itself, because as we kind of talked about earlier, it's like you guys were still kind of trying to figure out what your sound was. It was a little scattered in a way. But then you guys have this cohesive like record, and it's like, it's just complete. It's just right. This is We3. So how did you know this was We3?
Man, probably
trial and error. A lot of trial and error. We've been doing it for a long time. But sorry, go ahead.
I think it was the EP before this that I felt like I don't know, there was just a click. You know when something feels right. That's the best way. You can't totally describe it, but we just sat and listened to it and went, that's it. That's it. And things will continue to evolve. But I think we found a sound that we love. And
And I like the fact that you guys could have probably come out to LA, some mega producers, and created this record, but you guys still wanted to keep it homey, keep it to yourselves. Like, why was that so important to you guys?
Well, I think a lot of it ended up being just the decision we had to make to get the product out. We wanted to do it for our fans. We didn't want to wait a year after the show and possibly people would forget or not be interested. We wanted to get this product out for them, and people were begging for, especially Heaven. Like, they wanted that song, and so we really wanted to do it. But there was magic in the studio. It was kind of crazy. We look back and we're like, sometimes you don't have to be in the fanciest studio and all this stuff to have some magic happen. And for us, that whole experience was incredible, and we won't forget that.
And in getting that magic to happen, like, what were some of the challenges that you guys faced in the studio or in the writing process of the album?
I guess I would say some of the challenges probably would be scheduling. I mean, we're teachers as well, and so that was kind of our day job. And so at the time, we're teaching a lot, and then so we're having to balance the creative process, writing the record, producing the record, with teaching. And so we would do a little bit in the morning, and then we would go and teach, and then we'd come back at night. It was just a lot. And so so that was one of the biggest challenges, I'd say. I don't know about you guys.
But then it's crazy that, like, we ended up getting to start doing that full time over the summer, and we kept having to pinch ourselves. We were exhausted. We had no sleep, but we were like, we're making a record full time, and then we're going and playing this show, and then coming back and making a record. Like, this is so cool.
That's crazy. So throughout the process, you guys were still working on that record. So did you feel like you were, because I feel like once you're on that TV spotlight, like you really don't have time for yourself. So did you feel like you had to figure out anywhere you can fit in a writing session or anywhere you can fit in like a production session?
Oh, yeah.
I think, yeah, totally. And I think it was always preparing. One of our favorite tracks, Hold On the record, that sort of rap in the middle of it was written on the plane back from America's Got Talent
And I watched him write it.
audition.
I was sitting there, and I remember thinking, for some reason in my head, I was like, man, we need a rap in that song. And I looked over, and I realized, holy crap, he's writing a rap right now to that song. And I just sat back. I was kind of looking over your shoulder for a second, but I was like, no, he's writing a rap for that song right now.
So it's just, and I think a lot of writing is kind of doing your homework a little bit, and any idea, anything, you write it down. If you look through notes, it looks like gibberish, but you're just preparing for when the inspiration's there. Then you have tons of tools to go through, and so it's just being smart with your creativity and what time you have. So.
I feel like you guys have a win because you guys are teachers, so you guys are used to like that kind of research or that kind of like the way of like dissecting words or whatnot. Like, but how do you guys feel like you guys perfected your writing? Like, was it reading that you guys did? Was it listening to other artists? Was it poems? Like, how did that kind of work for you guys?
Jeez.
Just doing it over and over and over. I think we talk about that a lot. That's one thing that's a common thread. I think there's a lot, but one thing that seems to be a common thread is just over and over and over writing, even if it's garbage, even if it just doesn't turn out great, just turning on a faucet. I've heard you say that. Just turning on a faucet, you know, it's like gunk water right off the bat sometimes, but eventually it clears up, you know? And so, anyway.
Yeah, I think, man, I feel like
There's no
for
rules
me,
to
there's
writing.
no rules to writing, and it's never going to be perfect. And I think as long as you see that it's not perfect, you're always just going to want to keep pushing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Now, instrumentation-wise, the sonic sounds of this record, like what kind of inspired them? Was this the producer telling you guys, hey, you guys should try this, or was this you guys already knowing what you guys wanted it to sound like?
I mean, I'd say a combo. I think we've known this guy for so long that we read each other's minds a little bit. We wanted to shift into the pop realm, like that's what we wanted to do, but then also we play our stuff live, and we want to have an authentic shift so that when people come watch us live, they're not hearing something different than what's on the record. And that's been our goal.
Yeah, it was definitely trying to take our favorite musicians and putting them, our favorite parts of like records or whatever, and putting it into one thing as far as the production goes, down to the guitar sounds or the drum samples or whatever we put in there. Or even the melodies and the lyrics, you know, taking stuff that we love and adore from other records and other artists and putting it into this.
And just getting inspiration from that, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Production-wise, what was the hardest song to create?
Oh, that's a great question.
I feel like it was Sweater Weather.
Yeah, it probably was. Sweater Weather was actually pretty difficult.
Because it didn't need much. Like when it first, I remember you didn't necessarily know if you loved the song, and then he played it for our producer, and our producer, it was the last song he played as like an option, and he like chucked something across. He's like, why have I never heard that before?
So that's your next single.
It was so funny. We were like, oh, okay, you really like that one.
Nice.
And I think that one was just so perfect, being a guitar and vocals, that it was like, okay, we don't want to ruin
I
it.
think right at first we went too far with production on it. And we had to find the right balance of not going too much. Fairy Tale was actually really hard too.
That was so
Fairy Tale
hard. That
was
took
really
so
difficult.
many different
Well,
looks.
and that was one of our oldest songs that it was kind of like we would like to say it's kind of jump-started things for us, and we started taking things more seriously and realizing that, okay, maybe we can do this. And so that song has been around for a long time, and it's evolved a lot. And this, I think we all feel like the appearance of it in this record is like it's finally grown up, it's finally matured, you know? So anyway, so it's cool.
So in a sense, would you say that was the song that kind of had the most like that was basically the Frankenstein? You guys had to rebuild it over and over again. Was that the song, or was there another one in particular that you guys had to like recreate in order to be able to make it on the record?
I see. Yeah, I think it was. Now I'm going through the whole record in my head. It was definitely one of them, because we tried a bunch of different things. Yeah, actually, I remember we got to a certain point in it, and we finished it and went, no, it's not.
Right.
It's not
Which
quite
is so
there. It
frustrating.
was just too linear. It didn't
Yeah.
do anything.
Yeah.
And then we left one day and we came back in, and Keith, our producer, he was like, I just tried something. He goes, it's super simple. And it was something, a heartbeat kick drum that came in. And
We all went-
that changed the entire landscape of the song, because then it led into more of a Coldplay thing and
Yeah.
building and going more of this huge crescendo at the end.
Which is
So-
so fun to play live.
It is.
I bet.
So fun to play live.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. Like back to Sweater Weather, you mentioned like that was such a simple song. So, is it easier to create a song when the production of a song when it's a simple song lyrically, or is it harder to create?
I feel like, because remember Hold On, Hold On and Paradise, one day in the studio, we came out of there and we didn't, Paradise we finished in one day, it was insane, but it was because we had to. It was because we ran out of time. But with Hold On and Paradise, like, one like solid day in the studio, we came out and we were like, dang, that's coming together so fast. Like, there's obviously more to do, but so much of it just clicked. And then some songs, they just take a little extra work.
Yeah, I think it really just depends on the song. It totally just depends on the song. But that one, we just had to fight from going, we wanted it to feel acoustic and stripped down and real, but at the same time, we didn't want it to go too far that direction, and so it doesn't sound like the record. And so it took some pushing and pulling and trying different stuff, but
And now Sweater Weather is one of my favorite songs on the record.
Really?
Yeah, I love that one.
You guys can actually pick a favorite. I feel like it was hard for me to pick a favorite.
It
So
changes all the time, but I can say one of
depending on the state, depending on the concert, like
Yeah. And so many audiences like will react differently to songs. So you'll gain a new love for the song after a certain show, and you come off and you're like, dang, they brought that
think-
song to life.
live, probably my favorite song to play is Lifeline. Definitely.
the new single right now.
Yeah, it will.
kind of
Yeah,
geared
yeah,
towards
it will
that,
be. Yeah, that one will. That one just to see people. It's like when you look at people when we're playing it. It's like they don't even realize we're there anymore.
They are singing,
They just
yeah.
go in their own zone and they're just thinking about their own life. It's really cool and
yeah.
powerful to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we on that song we take out our in-ears because we just want to hear them
You
sing
wanna
it.
feel it,
Well, yeah, and it's pretty emotional. Like when they're just like screaming it back to you, it's like, dang, okay, this is really cool.
Would you say it's the same for you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I can't pick a favorite. Well, maybe I can, one day at a time. It
Yeah.
changes every time, I think. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, just the experience to get to like connect with the audience on that level, that like really deep, personal, dark, but hopeful level is just amazing. You know, I mean, that's what music does. It just brings us together and it connects people in a way that like nothing else can. And so to get to participate in that is amazing. I think one of the things that we say is we tell the audience, the more energy you bring, the better we play.
Yeah.
So it's just this circle, you know, it's just really cool.
Yeah.
Now, when you guys were creating this record, like, did you guys have an idea of like this is the concept that we want, or did the concept for this album kind of naturally just flow as you guys started creating the songs?
We like to say the songs have a life of their own, and everything happens if we try to put our hands in it too much and be too controlling, it doesn't work. So it's like there's this balance of just let it happen.
I
And
think it's.
yeah.
I say it for songwriting a lot, but it's the same for producing, in my opinion. I songwrite like I'm in thick fog and I can only see 2 feet in front of me, and so as things come, you just veer off. And I think it's the same concept in producing an album and choosing what instruments. You can't plan too far ahead, or else it's just not going to work. It has to be in the moment stuff. At least that's what we've found for what works for us.
Songwriting 101 right now. Like this, I'm gonna go and try and write a song after this. Now that I have this kind of advice. Now, you know, listening. Obviously, the fans kind of first found out about you guys because of Heaven. Heaven's Not Too Far, and that song, you know, to me, the first time I heard it in my car. I heard it with the car stereo, and like, you know, I really enjoyed the song. Last night I heard it again with headphones on, and I kid you not, guys, like I seriously, like I broke down because I'm in that similar situation. It'll be 5 years in March that, you know, I lost my best friend's dad from cancer as well. And to me, he was also like a father figure to me. So, you know, once I put those headphones on, like, I kid you not, like, I was feeling that song, like, and it just took, like, I call her my sister, she's my best friend, but I texted her and I was like, I seriously have just been, like, living through the last 3 days of his life, like, because of this song. Whoa. Like, it's so insane. Like, I'm, like, shivering, like, talking about it. But, you know, what was it like for you guys to create something like that? Because it's heavy, it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang. That's a good question. I feel like I never have a great answer for it, but it's a song, you know, because everybody knew we were songwriters once our mom passed. They were always asking, "You're probably writing tons of songs," and really for about, I mean, a year, I felt like I didn't really write any songs about her. Felt like I tried, but it just, none of them were, I was just like, that's not good. This isn't good. This isn't good. And then I sat down at the piano one day, and the concept of, it was, the first lyric I sang was, "Honey, I thought you should know that I'm in a hurry." And I didn't really know what I was writing, but then the idea popped in my head of doing it from her perspective, and the song came out in like 30 minutes. It was just like the words just went boom, 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 because it clicked and it worked.
And then
And so-
he brought it to us after rehearsal, and we were exhausted, and he was like, "I've got this song. Can I show it to you guys?" And I remember thinking, "Yeah, you gotta go fast because I gotta go, you know, and I'm tired." and he literally sits at the piano, and he said the first line, and I was like, "Crap, I know what this is from the first phrase," because that's what the word she would use. So right away I was like, "Okay," and then he sang the whole thing. We're not very emotional, like, people in front of each other, at least. It's just not how we've been. And him and I lost it. We were in that room, and I was heaving. I had to leave the room. I came back, and I was like, "What did you do to me?" And I remember I was like, "You have to warn us before you do that now." But he literally told the story with that song, and it was, I like to think of it as like a gift of, you know, we've obviously experienced the same thing, and then we realized through the show how many people didn't know how to express what they went through. And this song was like a gift to people, and a way to kind of grieve. And that was, I think, one of the most impactful things, when people would say, "This song is helping me grieve, and I haven't cried, or I haven't such and such," and it's like, dang.
Yeah, because I kid you not, it was one of those things where, like, and I'm sure you guys felt it too, it's like you knew that time was going to come, and when that time finally came, you guys were already prepared. So crying was, I mean, at least for me, crying was not even, it wasn't even anything that happened, because I was so used to it prior to that. So, you know, like I said, it's going to be 5 years in March, and this was the first time that I actually, like, just broke down. I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is really happening. But the lyrics in the song, I feel like, obviously they're personal to you, but I feel like they can just work with anybody that's lost someone. I feel like it's, like, so specific to that. And, like, you know, props to you guys for being able to create something like that, and even more props for being able to, like, perform it live, because I'm sure that's even harder. But what is that live show like when you guys, you know, play that song?
Well, I was really hesitant to allow this song to be shared. I just, after he showed it to us, it was just like, okay, this is for us. You know, this is so personal. So personal. And I didn't want it to be shared. But when, I think it was a few, like 6 months. 6 months later, we were contacted by AGT, and so we had some time with the song, and so we kind of, you know, put it away and just like, okay, we can't perform this. It's just like, this is just too personal and too rich and soft, and just. But then the idea came up of us performing it on the show, and right away there was a lot of hesitation, but after talking about it, it really felt like the most natural thing in the world to do. For many reasons, but I think one was it was real, it was honest, it was where we were at in the time, and to get to do that for everybody and perform that for everybody and connect with everybody on that level, and then also to really jumpstart things in our journey with that story, and with Mom being like a core part of it.
It's kind of crazy.
It was insane. It's like,
I kind of got to take her with us on this whole thing.
Cool.
And I think we didn't have any intention for, I mean, at least me going into it, I had no idea what the song was going to do. I just knew that the doors opened, and it was really clear that that's the story we needed to tell.
It's like a perfect example of her really, like, watching over you guys. Like, that's what it, you know, that's what it feels like.
No, but playing it live it's amazing. And the other night I had an experience that I hadn't really, when you perform a song so much, obviously, you just get in your zone and you do it. But that night, for some reason, I remembered that it was from her perspective. I was like, it just switched, and I was like, oh yeah. And then for some reason that night, it was just a totally new experience every time I sing it, because it just brings me right back to that thing of like, oh, no, you're not singing this right now. This isn't you talking. This is someone else. Exactly. And so it's a cool thing to do and go in that zone and see people connect to it.
Yeah.
And they hear the first chord, and that's what's insane.
That's what gets you.
They hear the first chord, and everybody will either pull out their phones. Sometimes they'll cheer, but sometimes they start crying right away. And so they know the song is coming, and it's kind of crazy because it's like, we get to get it out every time we play, and
So,
it's cool.
It's like a big therapy session, a big cry fest for everybody.
You guys are teachers, you guys are therapists, like, what else?
No. It's amazing. Yeah. I don't know words.
We like to say when you get it out sometimes, because sometimes people like to cry. It's cool. However you do it, you kind of get filled back up again.
Yeah.
So,
It does.
yeah.
I mean, I like I said, I released, a big weight on my shoulders that I didn't know that even existed because of last night. So it's like that, thank you guys for that. I really appreciate that. So no, I was like, I could not believe it. I was like, is this really happening right now? It was a feeling.
Yeah.
It was definitely a feeling. Now, now that the EP or the album is out, you guys are planning on, obviously some tour dates. What's going on for 2019? Because we got to see you guys live. Like we can't. I don't want to come here and be like, yeah, we did a one-off show here. Like I want to see you on tour.
Well, that's honestly what it's about. It's about us going to meet all of these amazing people who we haven't gotten to meet in person yet. So we're so excited for that.
Yeah.
And the dates are coming so soon, and people get really mad when I use the word soon, but like it is really soon. Really soon. We literally laid the map.
We laid the map out. We saw everything, and it's gonna be a fun couple months.
It's a better tour than we were even dreaming of. So
You guys, okay, we got to stop here because you're teasing me. You guys are teasing me. This is not cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you so much for this record that you guys created. And you guys be sure to check out We 3. The debut album is out now. And thanks for watching here on Front Row Live.